So we're out with the F-18 once again. We've got some different springs on the main gear this time. Now we have a problem. There used to be a tight fit, but it's stretching the ends out. So I got a feeling these are a bit substandard spring material because it's just stretching out the end loops. So now there's play. Both about equal, which they were put in and they were just under light pressure. They're 1mm by 6 diameter, 20mm loop to loop length. Another thing I discovered on my stronger springs, which were 1mm, no, strong ones, they were 1.2mm by 6. They were too strong. But what happens is, a stretched spring, you can only stretch so far, and otherwise you'll overstretch it and then it'll stretch permanently. So on a very bad landing, because I had one very bad bouncy landing, which the landing gear sort of saved it from rolling over and going wacky, but that stretched the suspension spring so far it just stayed stretched. So it's going to need a link put in to limit the maximum travel, just maybe horizontal. And the other thing is, you don't want it going further because this geometry which makes the wheels slant in and steer it. So putting that link in, which I should have done before I brought it out today, would be a good idea. I got a feeling these springs will die, but they come in a pack of 5, so I'll make up those limiting links and put 2 new springs in if it survives through 3 flights of using these, because these are definitely going to be a worry. They might not even last 1 flight and could cause trouble, so I'm a bit worried about that, but we'll see how they go. We're ready. So I think it's made it light on the gear early. So, and a bit of luck of, holy shoot, that went nuts to the left for some reason. There is definitely a wind coming from the tree line. I need a lot of control to get that back running correct, and it still needs more right trim. It's wavering around, wobbling a lot in the roll axis because of that wind. It's definitely not a, it's not much wind, but it's just enough. The F-18 just hates any wind.
Volts, 28.3 amps, 727 milliamp hours. 30.9 volts, 36.4 amps, 920 milliamp hours. 30.7 volts, 28.
Oh, that got blown right over. I went to do a medium gradual turn and it just went to nearly 90 degrees.
Milliamp hours.
Definitely hates that wind.
30.7.
I'm glad it's the last flight.
26.3 amps. 1,328 milliamp hours.
So now I've slowed down a bit, but I'm trying to be smooth and counteract the wind, anything that happens as soon as it happens. But basically, the slower you go, the more you're asking for trouble. That the ratio of the wind to its airspeed is going to affect it more.
30.1 volts, 37.2.
If you fly faster like a missile, you'll just track through it.
600.
But the roll axis, really, you can't say. It's just too sensitive.
30 volts.
So I mean, speed will help a little bit, but it just doesn't make up for it. 1,794 milliamp hours. the slower power, I'm only using about 30 amps. What are we using? 30 amps. But that sort of power level, 8S, is flying about a scale sort of speed. What the Blue Angels would probably more often do.
29.9 volts, 30.4 amps.
Goes pretty good vertical.
1098.
Well, very good vertical, really.
29.6 volts, 32.3
So I think,
2,
so I'm using,
400.
I'm doing a left turn, I'm using right aileron about 20 to 30% to maintain the same bank angle. So, you know, it definitely falls into turn, so you have to use opposite aileron to stop it falling deeper into the turn. I mean, you sort of do these things automatically as you fly and you don't think much about it. But just then I was paying more attention to see what am I doing and focus on making sure I did a constant banking radius turn.
29.1 volts, 45.7 amps, 2,935 milliamp hours.
Well, it's time to get ready to land anyway. What I'm going to do is come in from further out this time. So put the gear out, doors open, legs are coming out.
204 milliamp hours.
So I've got to get in a straight line, put out full span takeoff flaps, and now it'll struggle to turn, but I've got to use rudder to help it. Full span, I'm at about 30% throttle, I can't turn, I can't see it against the trees.
Flaps set for landing, 29.4 volts, 18.5.
It's tracking true, no, it's finally hit a bump. It was doing very well there for most of the travel.
29.8 volts, 0.2 amps, 3,450 milliamp hours.
So I've got to fix when I go to full span flaps, which only gives me like the aileron that comes up, but I've got tailerons, and that's how much taileron traveller is, but I cannot turn the plane. I'll get down and have a better look at it. I mean, that's a reasonable amount of, for a very roll sensitive plane, that's a reasonable amount of taileron plus a little bit of aileron help, and it won't turn. I have to start using rudders. So I'm at full left, and then a rudder helps a lot. So yeah, there's definitely something going on with it. Maybe it's the full span, or just full flaps at all, the inboard flaps disturbing airflow over the tailerons, and therefore the tailerons, because they work very well in flight, very sensitive, so they're probably being disturbed and they're not actually working properly when you've got full flaps down. So the full span part doesn't matter because they're further outboard, they wouldn't even affect the tailerons. So, but anyway, so only having half an aileron, because they're the only things working, the tailerons are probably not working fantastic, and having just that half aileron coming up, it's just not enough. But I get away with it by using the rudder anyway, so I'll leave it like it is. I might mix in a little bit more taileron, so when it goes to full flaps there's more taileron roll, and I'll just see if that helps, because it's not a problem using the rudders, but I'd rather not have to use them. But anyway, we've survived 3 flights. I'm sure the springs are going to hate me, so that one's nearly horizontal. Yeah, they're both just short of being horizontal, the trailing links, so it's sitting low in the tail, but the springs have survived. I don't think I did any impacts that overstretched the springs, so they haven't been damaged, but it definitely needs those limiting links put in to stop being able to compress too much. And it did do that little tip over on the left wing right at the last bit, so the missile rails just tried to come off a little bit there, so it's just got the tiny lugs.
magnets on both sides. So for all normal uses they stay perfectly fine, bumpy takeoffs, whatever. It's only if they hit the ground that that they do move
Flaps
free.
retracted.
So they're doing exactly what you want the missile rails to do. Anyway, we've survived, so we'll go back, do some more main gear work, and eventually hopefully get it working. It's never going to be 100% because of the geometry of the design, but at least we'll get it working so that it's very good to use on grass.